These guys are ridiculous. These guys are ridiculous.
Now, how about them damn Celtics?
All right, before we get you out of here, I just have one question. It can be very brief. Non-Celtics. Trade deadline, you see some big names. Kuzma's a name, John Collins, Westbrook. If you had to pick one or two guys that you think will be in different threads by the time the trade deadline's over, who are you going with?
Yeah, I'm going to cheat a little bit because I think two names for certain that I feel pretty confident are going to be traded are Jay Crowder. I think we all know that, right? There's no reason for the Suns,
Yeah.
even if it's 5 minutes before the deadline, and all you're getting is a second round pick, you might as well trade him because it's better than the nothing you're going to get out of him for the rest of the season. I also do think John Collins may get moved. I think you can't be in year 5 of trade rumors and then eventually not get traded unless apparently you're Miles Turner, who is, that's going to be his career, right? Yep. The rest of his career is going to be, Miles Turner may get moved, may get traded. So that one's interesting. But yeah, and then I'll give you one. I feel like the Warriors are going to trade James Wiseman. Because one, he's never going to get there with that team. It's just never going to happen for him. There's too much pressure. They need him to be something he isn't today. And I think that is their best piece of salary matching to do something. And you can very easily see some form of trade where he's sent to a rebuilding team where he can really play 25, 30, 35 minutes a night, find out what he is, see if he can really develop into something. And the Warriors get help that they need now. I think the Warriors have been living in this fantasy world, which looked awesome for a while of we're great right now, and we're going to be really good 5 years from now when the core ages out because we've got Wiseman and Kuminga and Poole and Moody and, all this other stuff. And we'll have cap flexibility as the stars move along. Now I think the Warriors are going to transition into, all right, we need to maximize what we've got today, because we still can be pretty good. Once we get Steph back on the floor and we've got our guys, we could probably still win another title, maybe even two, if we really hit on the right guys. And I think they're going to give up that idea of let's try to stretch this into a 10-year window. Moving forward, let's just focus on what we have over the next 3-4 years and try to maximize that. So, and if they're gonna, it has to be Wiseman at that point, just because of what he makes and where, what his status is. But yeah, definitely Crowder. I think it'll be a fairly busy trade deadline because the league's very wide open. I think Boston and Milwaukee have been the two best teams in the conference so far. Or I mean, in the entire league, really, if we get down to it. But I don't think anybody's looking at them as like, put them in the finals. Like they're definitely there and there's nothing we can do. I think what we're seeing is teams are looking at it and saying, there's probably 7-8 teams in the West who legitimately feel like, yeah, we can win the West this year. And I think in the East, I don't know that teams like the Nets, the Sixers are really looking at it and saying, well, it's over. We can't even, hope to beat Boston or Milwaukee. I think they're feeling like they can get there if they get that shot. The challenge is going to be, there going to be enough sellers with actual stuff to sell, because that starts to become the question mark. Is you're going to have something like people keep saying like, well, the Rockets are bad. Are they going to sell? What do they have to sell? Their whole roster is kids, outside Eric Gordon. Like that would be dumb, right? You're not giving up one of the kids. Like those guys are your guys. Like you're building around them. Even Orlando, right? They've got a couple veterans that they could move on from, guys like Gary Harris, maybe Terrence Ross. Those guys could get moved on from, but for the most part, it's kids. So, now you've got Jakob Poeltl floating out there on the Spurs. You've got a handful of other guys on a couple of these teams that they can move on from. Detroit's got a couple vets that they can move. But if you're young, you don't really have anything to sell, so that becomes a little bit of a sticking point. But another team or two will fall out over the next couple months as we approach the deadline, and that'll build our market a little bit. But yeah, I think it's got a chance to be a fairly active trade deadline. Last thing I'll leave you with why I think that too is terrible free agent class. So what we often see when that happens is teams almost get a jump on like pre-agency by trying to go get a guy now. And then we've got him for the rest of the year. And then he's our de facto big offseason acquisition as well. So we could see something like that also.
Everyone prepping for the 2024 class. That's where the heavy hitters come out.
We'll see.
I'm
We'll
ready.
see, man. Extensions take everybody off the table now, so that's
Yeah.
that's the problem. But it could be. I mean, that one's got potential to be a pretty good class. But I've kind of stopped getting excited 2 years in advance about free agent classes because they all, then the next thing you know, we see all these guys sign extension deals, and we also don't know what the new CBA is going to do. If it fixes the current extension rules and allows players to get paid a little bit more, then what we'll end up seeing is, all right, this will turn into, a spot where guys will, get paid a little bit, a little bit better, and then even more guys will extend. And we all know the rule in the NBA, right? Extend, take the money now, because if 2 years from now you don't like it, you just ask for a trade. And that's just that's reality where it is. And I, quite frankly, I don't have a huge issue with it because it continues to create content and drama and all the things we love about this
Check Taco. Come on.
Taco's having some fun here.